the booth. This is your host, Brandon, with the co-host, Tailor. Why don't you grab someone real tight, snuggle on this Thanksgiving Eve, and make sure you watch some football. Make sure you subscribe. Oh, Taylor's acting like he froze, but we see his eyes moving.
I hope the viewers are as terrified as I am.
I've always wanted to do that.
Why?
You never heard like those, like, turn on like the R&B kind of like stations on late at night, and it's like, hey, all you cool cat and kittens, make sure you grab some, kind of like that.
So you're talking about like this. Welcome to 97.8, The Booth, with Brandon and Taylor. Something like that.
Yeah.
Little jazz intro.
Yeah, nice little sensual.
Yeah. You made it creepy though, man. You went a little creepy on there. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
A little weird. Yeah. See, somebody in the comments, Aaron. She said, "Why?"
Yeah.
Why? That's a good question. Why?
Well, I could end up in
jail.
We
know now.
Just like Michigan State's. They have 7 players. One's facing a felony charge.
Yep.
Just saw that. That's a way to ruin your career, man.
Yeah.
Over a football game.
Yeah, I mean, rivalries are fun, and I get it gets the blood pumping, but that was ridiculous.
Yeah. That's
your whole career right there. Hey, but you're in the moment. Sometimes you can't control what you do. Now they're going to pay for it. So.
Yeah. It is what it is, I guess. I mean, the guy who got attacked is probably going to get a nice little settlement, but
I doubt it.
No, who knows? All right. So, did you see the new college football? Well, not new. Like, technically, it's still the same top 4. Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, then TCU. Although LSU popped up to number 5 with Tennessee losing, and then USC at 6, Bama at 7, and Clemson at 8. That's your topic.
Yep, I did see that.
Ooh.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you saw that. What's your opinions on that top 4 there? We'll start with the top 4 before we break into the.
I think the top 4 is perfect. I don't think TCU is above Michigan, Ohio, or Georgia, and I think Michigan and Ohio State's perfectly placed. Georgia has yet to lose. I don't think they should. I think
Georgia's like no matter what, even like unless they lose to LSU in the SEC championship game, I think Georgia is slated at 1 no matter what.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't think they're moving.
Yeah, and they should. I think the way that they have it's perfect. I think TCU at 4 is a good spot because
we talked about it. They're on a line,
like you said, they're right there. Like it is. I mean, they are walking a tight rope right now. And I'm kind of surprised they're in the top 4 right now after the past week. But I mean, Michigan also had a close game. It was a very week for football. Yeah, I saw there was a lot of high teams that were in close games.
Vanderbilt.
So yeah, I think it's good. Yeah, I like the top 4.
Yeah. Do you like this hoodie? Look at that.
I do like the hoodie. I do like that.
The booth.
It's beautiful. It's clean.
Yeah.
Who made that?
My lovely.
Let's give a shout out.
Shout out to my lovely wife. She's reading right now. But if you'd like your own booth attire, hit her up.
Or anything else.
If
you want something that says ban the booth, go ahead. She'll make it. Hopefully she doesn't, but she will.
If you want that 97.3 smooth,
97.3 The Booth.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, again, TCU's walking that fine line. To be honest, I think it should be USC over LSU.
Absolutely.
LSU's got, listen, I'm SEC all the way, but there's got to be some bias because USC has 1 loss. And they just came off beating a good UCLA team. And then, LSU just beat UAB, I don't see see it.
Caleb Williams is in the Heisman race right now.
Yeah.
A couple of the predictions I saw that he's going to be like maybe the number 2 guy going against like C.J. Stroud. I know Hendon Hooker dropped out now, but
Hooker got hurt.
Yeah, so he's not going to. I don't think he's going to win Heisman now. Unfortunately, injuries kind of
same with Blake Corum, the running back from Michigan. He's out, hurt his leg.
So I'm surprised that they're at number 6. I would have put them at 5. I also noticed that. So they have Alabama at 7. I feel like this is the committee's way of pushing Alabama into a spot where they could potentially make the top 4.
Oh, always. The committee always favors Bama. All right.
Oh yeah.
It's weird to them. It's like crack. They're like, oh, Bama's not in top 4. What? Oh, how can we help?
we gotta change something.
What's going on?
They'll make it to 5, and then whenever they're doing like their final voting and everything, they'll bump TCU out of it somehow and still put Alabama in. Yeah. Guaranteed.
No, we're gonna wake up tomorrow or after Saturday, and all of a sudden Bama's gonna be number 1. You'll be like, what?
Yeah. I think they did that to Ohio State a couple of years ago. They were the number 4, and somebody was number 5 below them, and they didn't even put. Yeah, they didn't even put Ohio State into the championship playoffs or games or whatever. What is the point of this list, though? If the final decision, you can push the 5 in. I don't understand that.
Yeah. Well, I think TCU if TCU wins out, you have to put them top 4, right? They'll be undefeated. You can go off strength of schedule, but they've beaten some pretty solid teams this year.
I think you're taken out. But so if TCU wins out,
it would have to be either Michigan or Ohio State because they play each other Saturday.
I don't know.
But I would not put LSU there. I'd put USC in that spot.
I could not see. So even if Michigan or Ohio State loses, I know that one of them is going to, of course. Yeah. I can't see either of them bumping out of the top 4 or being replaced by LSU, who has 2 losses.
This is why I can see if Michigan loses bumping out of the top 4 because they lost practically their offense. They lost Blake Corum, who was the leading rusher at over 1,000 yards rushing. He pretty much was that offense. J.J. McCarthy's been playing pretty decent this year.
Don't forget about C.J. Stokes.
Yeah. Ronnie Bell has 640 yards. He's a leading receiver from Michigan. They have a good, like you said, Stokes. They have a good offense, but I think USC with Corum out could potentially beat them head to head. So I think that if Michigan this is where I say if Michigan loses, they're out. USC needs to take their spot. But if Ohio State loses, and this is going to be a double standard, but if Ohio State loses, they're still top 4. It would just flip-flop. I think it would go Michigan, Ohio State, then TCU. But if Michigan loses, I would replace them with USC. TCU's at 4. I think TCU is locked at 4 as long as they win out. I don't think they can move up. I don't see it. I think if USC wins out, and again, Michigan takes the L, that's who I would put in that top 4. But I know LSU is technically next in the line. I wouldn't put LSU because they have 2 losses. And that makes no sense.
I don't think anybody in the top 4, unless everyone in the top 4 has 2 losses, there should not be a 2-loss team in the top 4.
No, not at all. I can understand a 1-loss team, like you got slated 1 game. Yeah. But, I mean, USC's being a good Utah team, a good they coming off a good UCLA team.
And could we honestly, can we see LSU beating Michigan, Ohio State, or Georgia? Realistically,
JT Daniels is a transfer from Arizona State. He's been playing really good.
But on the most level playing field where both teams play their best football.
Yeah, if it's not in Death Valley, I think that Michigan wins. Yeah, I think that Death Valley and LSU, like their stadium, is just so much home. It's like the Swamp or Neyland Stadium for Tennessee or Michigan Stadium. There's so much home field advantage in that if it's on a neutral site, yes, I would go with Michigan.
Yeah. All right, I'm interested to see how it plays out because the main thing I want to watch is Alabama. I want to see what they're doing with that. 'Cause
Well, Clemson's getting
I just
slided with Bama, just being behind Bama. They've only got one loss, and they're behind Bama. Although
they deserve to be where they're
yes,
at.
I will say that one's a little different because Bama is clearly a better team than Clemson, even
Yes.
though they took 2 L's.
Yeah,
Because
but you also have to see who beat Alabama. Like you have number 5 right now in the playoff
LSU,
rankings, LSU, and then
yeah,
you had Tennessee, who was in the top 4. I believe was at number 2
they're at like
at the
number 12 or
time.
something like that right
Yeah,
now.
they're at 10, I
10.
believe,
Yeah, there you go.
in the playoff rankings. On the AP poll, I don't even look at the AP poll anymore.
No, it's just
It's all about college football playoff ranking now.
at this point, yeah.
But they're at 10. So I mean, they have 2, as it sits right now, 2 top 10 teams.
Yeah, and
that they lost to. I mean,
Clemson's highest win was against, at the time, number 10 NC State, which
yeah. And
NC
they're not
State's
even ranked
fallen.
anymore.
Yeah, they're not even ranked. So,
Yeah.
I mean, they just beat Miami, but Miami's not even a bowl eligible. I don't know, slight to Miami. Actually, 100%. I threw that in there just to slight Miami. I didn't really need to bring that up, but I wanted to make sure I brought that up. But I put that tweet out today. They put a whole list of like teams that are bowl eligible, and I said,
Where's Miami?
I go something. Sometimes I just think about you, and I put like the U up. Oh man,
Oklahoma's not bowl eligible.
yeah they are.
So,
Yeah, they are. So
it's a win on the season after everything that happened.
take it. But yeah, so I just think Bama is better than Clemson, but I don't think Bama's better than USC or obviously not LSU because LSU won. So the only thing I would switch is USC and LSU, and I put USC in there if Michigan loses. Again, because without Corum at running back, I know they have good depth there at running back, but he's so dynamic in that running game that it's going to put more pressure on McCarthy, and I don't know if we've seen enough from McCarthy to go, okay, this is a big game. Can he now if he beats Ohio State, then yes, obviously, but they're still going to be top 4. But that's why I mean,
if you watch the game from last week, their passing game wasn't there whatsoever.
And so that's why I said now. And I know Michigan fans are like, well, if we beat Ohio State, they should fall out. Double standards or whatever. No, all right. No, they did not. Ohio State does have a little drama going on with TreVeyon Henderson getting benched. TreVeyon Henderson getting benched. They're at one point leading rusher for I don't know what grade he is. But Williams has 783 rushing yards. Henderson has 571. So, I mean, it's kind of like that Junkins and Zach Evans down there at Ole Miss where Zach Evans was the starter and Evans gets not benched but takes a lesser role because the freshman Junkins down there at Ole Miss is just electric. He's got 1,000 yards on the season. Evans is electric himself, but you're supposed to play. Lane Kiffin's always played his best players regardless of age. So, but yeah. So I would again for anyone out there listening, USC, and at the start of the season I would not have put USC this high just because it's year 1 under Lincoln. I know Lincoln's a good coach, and he took all of Oklahoma. This is the Oklahoma Trojans trying to get into the top 4. So
this is OU right here.
Yeah, Taylor's crying. He's like, this could be us. Yeah. This could be me.
I know most Oklahoma fans are actually probably like salty about it and upset and pissed off, whatever. Mm. It is what it is. I mean, at this point, we got to let it go.
Yeah.
Especially because of the kids that are playing there. I mean, Caleb Williams came in and played when he was a backup quarterback. Came in and started for us, gave us everything he could.
He's great, man.
Played
He's
in our bowl game
right now.
Yeah. He's awesome. That's the one thing that I hate is that he left. I wish he would have stayed because he is dynamic.
2024 draft class.
I think so. If it came down to, let's say, C.J. Stroud and Caleb Williams for the Heisman Trophy, I think Caleb Williams could pull it off based on the weapons he has compared to the weapons that C.J. Stroud has. Because if you look at C.J. Stroud, that dude has got every single weapon you could possibly imagine.
C.J. Stroud's like a tool man going into Lowe's and getting infinite card of money and just going, hey,
Yeah.
get what you want.
Yep. So that's the difference for me is who has more weapons. C.J. Stroud does. Now,
Now,
if you're
Caleb
going
Williams
off the
does have
strength
some
of
receivers
schedule,
now.
true, but not on the same level as Ohio State. Ohio State has the best wide receivers
Yeah, that's
out there right now.
Marvin
That's
Harrison
just
Jr.'s got 1,000 yards and 11 touchdowns, and I'm gonna mess up. I'm just gonna say Ibaka. I know it's not his last name. Whatever. Ibaka has he was hurt for majority of the season. He still has 700 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns, and he's gonna be a first round pick. So, no, I see there. There you go, something like that.
Egabuka.
I apologize
Tough
for
name.
butchering his name.
I don't.
Okay, well, Mr. Tough Guy. He's like, I don't. Looks directly.
I'm not going to
into the camera.
apologize for being uneducated.
Oh man. Well, we butchered it.
Oh,
But yeah, no, I think that Caleb Williams in the class of 2024 draft is going to be the number 1 pick. I think Stroud's going to be the number 1 pick this year. Him or Bryce Young. I like Stroud to the Texans, but I think that would be a nice fit. But I just, as far as this college football playoffs, man, I don't see how you can put a 2-loss team in the top 5.
Yeah,
don't see it.
It just makes zero sense.
Like, I get LSU's dynamic. I'm not taking away from LSU and the season that Brian Kelly and company has put out. But, again, 2 losses to 1, and then I just don't. I think USC beats LSU to do.
Oh, agreed. But, we'll see. I know there's a bunch of stuff that they consider outside of losses and strength of schedule. They do, like, let's say your coach quits or retires like today or something. They take that into consideration. What players are available with
That'd be
injuries
crazy, huh?
or anything like that. That's what they take into effect. Is all that.
You can
They do like a whole slate. Well, that's what they did with Notre Dame last year.
Yeah. Did he leave mid-season?
Yeah. Well, he left after the last game, and then their now head coach. Yeah, their now head coach was one who coached in the game.
He started off slow, but he's turned.
He started off terrible.
Yeah. But Notre Dame's turned it around.
I still will not consider them a true college football team until they join a freaking conference. One of the stipulations to get into the college football playoffs is you have to win a conference championship.
Yeah. Be in one.
How is Notre Dame in there?
They should just join up with Ohio State and Michigan State. Michigan.
They should just join up into the Big 12 because I guarantee they would slaughter everyone. Talk about winning championships year after year.
The reason why I say the Big Ten with Ohio State and Michigan is because Penn State has played 7-4 this year. They played all right, but the Big Ten, I think it's the West. The best team is 7-4. So you put them in the West. At least that's a team that can challenge Michigan. Because at this point, you might as well just make it Michigan versus Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. Because, think about it. One of those two teams is not going to be in the Big Ten championship game because they're in the same division in their conference, which is wild. So, to me, I like how what the SEC is going to do. Speaking of conferences, when Ohio State, Oklahoma, and Texas join up on the SEC, they're just going to make it just the SEC. There's no divisions. You set your schedule how you want it. Which is going to be cool because you can kind of schedule the games how you want. Me and you are going to be bitter rivals and see each other almost every year, at least, or every other year. So
we're going to win every single game.
And then just make just make the top 2, make that the SEC championship game 1 and 2, and then they should do that. To be honest, with every major P5 conference, just make it one conference instead of dividing it. That way, you get a fair share, a good look at what your talent is.
Oh man!
But speaking of, we talked a little bit about Michigan and Ohio State. That game is coming up, so let's kind of break it down, get a little more in depth. I want to ask you this question, Taylor: can Michigan win without quorum?
I'm going to say yes because there's a completely different dynamic to a rivalry game like this. It is the best of the best comes out of each team every time they play. I mean, last year it was, I think Michigan won out and beat Ohio State, and everybody favored Ohio State, and then Michigan just, I mean, it ran all over them. I think there's a potential for that to happen again. I think the biggest thing is, like you said, their run game without Quorum. I think in order for that to work out, they need to fix their passing game. Like, they have to come out slinging that ball all over that field if they want to beat Ohio State, because you cannot trust your backup running back in a game like this, especially when college football playoffs are on the line. You need to attack on the passing game and stick with that. I mean, of course, add in your run game as usual, but don't rely on it. You know, of course, if he like breaks out and he is just dominating the game, then change things up and go with the rushing game. But start off with the passing game. And I know Ohio State's going to be planning for that, but that's the only way I can see them prevailing in that game.
Yeah, and it's going to be a high-scoring game. Michigan, I think, is at 38 points per game, while Ohio State's about 41, 42. Ohio State's got a passing attack from hell, man. Like, that those corners better be ready, because Marvin Harrison Jr., we've already talked about him enough on this show, but I'm going to keep talking about him because he's like the perfect prototypical receiver. He's 6'4", he's like 200+ pounds, he runs like a 4.4. He's got great body control, great wing. I think his wingspan is like 6'7", 6'8", so he's got a great wingspan. He's good at route running. He's got incredible hands. And then they have Jackson over there, who is also their last year's star receiver, who some say was better than Olave and Garrett Wilson, who obviously went to the NFL draft. So their passing attack is just incredible. And if Michigan, like you said, if Michigan is going to want to win this game without Quorum, they're going to have to match that passing attack. And I don't think they personally can, but this is kind of a put up, nut up or shut up kind of thing for McCarthy here. You won that job week 2, that starting quarterback job. Now prove to Harbaugh why you deserve that starting job come next year, right? Because they got a bunch of they have a quarterback coming in from this upcoming recruiting class that is going to be He's good. He's going to be pushing for that starting job. So you need to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row, because this is going to be a big one when it comes down to future quarterback battles, and then just playoff indications in itself. Because even if you do lose, if you make it a close game, that's going to make the committee a little more lenient on pushing you or keeping you in instead of pushing you out. If you get blown out, they're out. They keep it close. They keep it close. They might stay in.
Yeah. No, if it's a complete shutout, like Texas versus Oklahoma this year, then 100% they're out. Mm-hmm. That's how it has to go.
Yeah. Now, if they do keep it close, could you see TCU jumping them to 3 and TCU and Michigan just flip-flopping? TCU.
Oh yeah. I definitely think that if they lose, they should be 4.
Yeah. If it's close, if they get blown out, it's over.
Yeah. If it's a close game, 4. If they get blown out, they'll probably drop down to 5 or 6.
Yeah, I agree there. So, we'll start our game predictions before we go to the NFL with this game. Who you got winning this game?
I'm gonna go Michigan. I'm gonna go with the blue. This one's. I mean, there's really nothing I can go off of to really give accurate. Mm-hmm. Yeah, to really go with an accurate prediction, but go with Michigan. I have a feeling. I think they're going to do what they did last year, and either their run game or their passing game is going to be dominant, and Ohio State's just not going to be able to stop it.
My man just pulled a Joe Theismann. Either their running game or their passing game is going to be dominant. Well, one of them's got to be.
That's false. Not one of them has to be dominant, because if you looked at the Jets this past week, neither was dominant.
All right. Hey, I think that if Michigan wants to win, their special teams has to be dominant. Cannot forget the special teams players.
No. John Madden. One of these teams threw the ball more than the other, and they have more passing yards. The team that scored the most points won the game.
Yeah. So I am going to go Ohio State. They have a 75% chance, according to ESPN, to win the game. And without Corum, I think Corum was that heart of that offense. Who knows? Michigan could, find a different heartbeat and beat to a different drum and pull the upset. But I like Ohio State's defense, and I like especially like their offense. So I'm just gonna go there and go Ohio State.
Fair enough.
All right, so we're gonna go with Lane Kiffin potentially going to Auburn. He said he turned it down, but we're gonna go with Lane Kiffin's Ole Miss versus Mississippi State. Who you got?
I'll take Ole Miss, even though Lane Kiffin retweeted the video of Nick Saban saying, "I'm not going to be the coach of Alabama. I shouldn't have to answer this question." I don't know why he keeps saying that.
Lane Kiffin is just like a regular dude who just randomly got the job. Like,
you want to coach?
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure. Oh man. Yeah. So I'm gonna go with Mississippi State here. I'll take the split.
Okay.
Then we got Florida versus Florida State.
You're gonna hate this one.
Just take Florida State, man. And
taking FSU. I think they got this one all day.
Yeah. I hope it's. This game is always Florida leads this head-to-head overall, but we literally only have 6 wide receivers because our Shorter's hurt for this game. Xavier Henderson's hurt for this game. Jaquavion Frazier's is hurt for this game. Trent Whittemore transferred. So a lot of our starters are gone. The only starter that started this season is Ricky Pearsall, and he just got injured. He's coming back from injury for this game. It's going to be a lot on Anthony Richardson, and talk says he's leaning towards the NFL. So if he wants to make a splash and secure his spot in the first round, which he probably already has secured his spot in the first round.
Oh, definitely. But, unless he throws like 6 picks in this game.
Yeah, I mean, he just threw 400-plus yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He needs to run more.
The potential is there, and an NFL team sees that potential. They're going to be able to.
Someone said it's like a Mitch Trubisky, where he's got a really high ceiling, but it all depends on what team he goes to and how they develop him.
Somebody said Mitch Trubisky has a high ceiling?
Well, coming out of college, everyone did, right? He only had 1 year of actual football starting at UNC. So was Richardson 1 year at Florida starting. So, but I do think
I thought you were saying Mitch has a high ceiling now. No. I was like, what?
No, but
what are you talking about?
I am going to go. I'm going to be a homer. I'm going to go Florida.
Smart man.
I like our running attack. I think if Anthony runs, if he actually decides to pull the ball, there's no one stopping us. All right. He just got every time there's NFL scouts in the stands, he tries to throw it more than he runs for whatever reason.
AR-15 to the Colts.
Maybe. Yeah, I see that in the comment section. I need some development though. I don't know if you want a project quarterback to a dying franchise like that.
A dying franchise like that.
Oh
you
man!
better watch out, man. Oh
man! All right, so we got number 19 Tulane versus Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
Ooh, they're both 9-2. I'm going Tulane. The Green Wave.
I think that's going to be a little fun game.
Yeah.
Fun game there.
Texas versus Baylor.
Texas has just fallen off, man.
Quinn Ewers went from hero to zero in like a matter of weeks. Oh man.
I'm going to go with Baylor. They had a really good game against TCU.
Mm-hmm. That was a great game.
They literally lost off of the very last second field goal.
That's that tightrope we're talking about, bro, with TCU. Yeah. They were walking it.
I'm going Baylor because Baylor's a good team.
All right. I think I'm going to go Baylor, too. I'm going to go with it. Quinn Ewers. Listen, everyone was like, Quinn Ewers or Arch Manning. Because Arch Manning's early enrollee, so he's going to come in January, which means he's going to have a whole offseason to train. Quinn Ewers went from up here to like, man, he's with Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud. He's the next. And here comes Arch Manning. Arch Manning with his hazard suit on, coming to clean up the nuclear bomb that is Quinn Ewers. And he's like, I'm going to take this spot.
I think with Arch Manning having his last name is going to have a lot of pull,
Yeah.
and the way he plays in high school, and with how Ewers is just kind of turned into dust. I think Arch Manning takes that spot. I think if they start Arch Manning, the publicity that they're going to get from having Arch Manning starting for Texas is going to be
Texas is going to
insane.
be on every single channel every week.
Absolutely.
So imagine if Manning went to Ohio State and Marvin Harrison Jr. decided to stay back a year, or he has to stay back a year. So imagine if he went to Ohio State, took that job after C.J. Stroud left. You know, it was Manning to Harrison on Ohio State, and then they both get drafted to the Colts, and it was Manning versus Harrison.
Okay.
Like that. Just imagine.
If that happened right now, I would go and put $500 on Ohio State winning the national championship.
And then Edgerrin James' son, coming out of high school, he goes to Ohio State. And Frank Gore's son, who's currently at
what is this, the Colts 2.0 college edition?
This is the legacy team.
The legacy team.
Oh man. The Ohio State Colts. All right. Yeah. Where were we at? Oh, yeah, I'm going Texas or Baylor. We got NC State versus North Carolina.
North Carolina.
All right, I'm going with North Carolina too, and I think my Heisman favorite is Drake May. So he leads the all Power 5 in every statistical category for quarterback, including touchdowns, passing yards, completion percentage.
He's good.
He's good. He's a freshman, so I guess that's why they're not considering him. But all right, then we got UCLA, who just came off a tough loss to USC versus the California Golden Bears.
UCLA.
Yeah, UCLA. That one's pretty easy. We have a tough one in Georgia Tech versus Georgia.
Ooh, that's a tough game for Georgia Tech. I got Georgia.
All right, I got Georgia as well. Georgia Tech doesn't even have a coach yet. We talked about the Michigan-Ohio State game. All right, South Carolina versus Clemson.
Man.
Hey,
South Carolina just popped
off against Tennessee.
Man,
they got Spencer Rattler sitting there doing the bone licking thing with his. He's
that
like,
man,
1, 2, 3.
That man, he played that game like he should have played every single game he's ever played. That's what everybody thought he was going to be.
Yeah.
Throughout his whole career. If he comes out with the same energy and he plays like he did against Tennessee, Clemson is going to lose by 21, guaranteed.
Yeah.
So I've got South Carolina.
I'm gonna go with the Gamecocks as well. I think Spencer's thing is kind of like a lot of like Anthony Richardson's. It's all about the confidence. Except AR is a little more humble. Obviously, Spencer's not a humble man at all. So when he comes out and he's that not humble guy. He knows he's the man, big man on campus. When he has that confidence, he plays great. When he throws an interception or makes a bad play, he beats himself up so much that's it. That's the game. Even if it's like the first drive, that's it. He gets in his head too much. So if he, like you said, if he comes out swinging, I'm taking Gamecocks.
Yep, same. I think it'll be good though.
It will be a good game. Definitely gonna be watching. Louisville versus Kentucky.
I'll take Louisville.
All right, I'm gonna take Louisville as well. Obviously, you know
why. Drop that stock a little bit.
Well, for Will Levis to the Rams.
Man,
what are you gonna do with the Rams do draft Will Levis?
I'm gonna find a new team. I'm just kidding.
You better hype him up, going, he's the greatest quarterback. Oh man, that's gonna be funny. All right, Auburn versus Alabama.
Alabama.
All right, Alabama. Oregon versus Oregon State. This is a pretty good game.
Is Kentucky even ranked anymore?
No, they're not. They're 6 and 5.
Louisville's
ranked. Yeah, they're ranked 25.
On what?
The AP poll. I got the ESPN app, top 25 games.
Showing right here that UCF is 25.
I just went to ESPN and NCAA top 25 scores for this upcoming week.
Let me check something real quick to see what ESPN's going on. That's weird. That's why I hate the college playoff rankings, and
they just need to get rid of the AP poll once the rankings for the college football playoffs go.
All right, so this one shows UCF. All right, so this is college football playoffs. Who's 25 on here? So the college football playoffs have Louisville. See,
See, that's what makes
so stupid.
So we're going off the playoff ones. Like we said, let's just go with the playoff ones.
Yeah, I don't know why there's two different. Whatever.
All right, Oregon versus
I'll go
Oregon
Louisville.
State. Yeah, still Louisville.
Oregon.
Oregon as well. Bo Nix might have worked himself into a first round, like late first round, early second round quarterback pick. I think I'm going to say I know. I think there's going to be a team in this, at least in the second round, that's going to pull the trigger. He's got a like 70+% completion percentage. Again, I don't think he's going to be that good in the NFL, but I think this year. Listen, you keep saying no. You keep waving your head no. Okay, I think he did. If AR is having a decent season, but if AR-15 can get in the first round, Bo Nix can at least get the second round.
Oh, second round, late second round, yeah.
All right, undrafted actually. No, I'm kidding.
Will Levis.
All right, I'm gonna go. Yeah, he needs to be undrafted. I'm gonna go with Oregon as well. We got TCU versus Iowa State. I'm going TCU.
TCU.
We got the Michigan Rough Riders versus Penn State. Michigan State.
Penn State.
Yeah, we're going Penn State. Watch out for the tunnels. It's gonna be on pay-per-view, UFC pay-per-view.
Good thing this is in. It's at Penn State, so I think they'll be good. They have separate tunnels now.
Joe Rogan's gonna be sitting there announcing like, we got a heavyweight championship in Michigan State versus a featherweight.
I'm here with your winner, Penn State.
We got Utah versus Colorado.
Utah.
All right, I'm gonna go. Colorado's 1-10. I think they're gonna get their second. Well, I'm just kidding. Utah. Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Sheesh.
All right. Although Deion Sanders is considering taking that Colorado job, but I don't see it.
I don't see that.
I think he leaves JSU for a better P5 team than that. Like Auburn, I could see him taking Auburn, Nebraska, something like that. All right. LSU versus A&M.
Oh, Texas A&M all day. They're gonna lose. LSU.
All right, LSU as well. Dude, the wasted talent. We've already talked about that.
The transfer portal is going to be
littered with talent.
Insane.
Like Donnell Harris, former 5-star defensive end, top 5 player in the nation from 2021. He's already entered the transfer portal. He originally medically retired, but then he got the okay by the doctors to say he can play again. So now he's in the transfer portal. He said, I'm done with A&M. I'm going to go find me a new home. All right, so I'm going to be going LSU as well. All right, then we got 22 UCF versus South Florida. UCF as well. Then we got
National champs.
Good game here, Notre Dame versus USC.
I got USC.
I'm going to take USC as well, but I think this is going to be a close game.
Absolutely. It's
going
to be a good one.
Number 10, Tennessee versus Vanderbilt. Hendon Hooker's hurt.
Yeah.
You trust Milton.
I'm going Tennessee. I still think they're a solid team without Hendon Hooker.
I'm going
Not
Vanderbilt.
what they were, but
I'm going Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt, like 2 years ago, was like the team.
Yeah.
No, that was Purdue.
Yeah, that was Purdue.
Yeah, that was Purdue.
But Vanderbilt this year has been that, and they're having a good year for Vanderbilt standards. But I don't think Milton
standards. They're like 2-7 right now. That's like really good.
If they beat Tennessee, they're bowl eligible for like the first time in like 20-something years. Yeah, I'm gonna go Vanderbilt. I think that Vanderbilt's actually playing decent football, and I don't trust Milton at quarterback with Tennessee. I don't care how the Tennessee defense has always been trash. So been relying on Hendon Hooker and Hyatt and Brew McCoy and stuff like that. Milton can't throw a jug of milk into a milk factory. So I'm going to go with Vandy with the upset. That way it eases the pain of us losing to them as well. All right, then we got Kansas State versus Kansas.
I'm going to take Kansas State.
Kansas State fell off. They fell off hard. Washington versus Washington State. It's the last game. I'm gonna go Washington.
I mean, I'm gonna go Washington. They had a good game last week.
Yeah. All right. That concludes our college football portion of the booth. Make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and make sure you follow us on Spotify. Now, on to the NFL. Well, okay, that was over. Bet you're glad that's over. All right. So going on to the NFL. All right. So
I'm gonna retire from the booth, guys.
Dun-dun-dun. All right, Vontae Davis, tired mid game. Didn't even make it to halftime. It was like, yeah, dude, I'm out.
I cannot do this anymore.
Was he with the Colts when he did that? I think he was.
No, I don't think it was the Colts. No,
Was it the Bills? The Bills or the Colts?
it was the Bills. It was the Bills.
All right, the Bills. Yeah, that's crazy. I couldn't imagine like seeing my teammates and like, yo, bro, I'm out, bro. Y'all suck.
I cannot do this anymore. You all have fun. The money ain't even worth it. I'm out.
So speaking of leaving the team, not leaving the team, but as far as getting benched, Zach
Adjustment
Wilson.
to the team.
Yeah, I guess being a not helpful. Like, I don't know. Let's just talk about Zach Wilson. That's what I'm trying to get at. So Zach Wilson got benched today, and apparently somebody on the inside said that this is how it went. Hey, Zach, we're benching you for 1 week to get your mind right. And he said, what? Why? Why now? So, and he's very distraught about it. Zach, is Zach Wilson, Jamarcus Russell has better stats than Zach Wilson's first, like career-wise at this point. Jamarcus Russell has better stats than Zach Wilson, even though Zach Wilson's 5-2 as a starter. Do you think it's time for the Jets to move on from him as far as drafting a new quarterback, or do you think they stick with Zach Wilson and this just is kind of like a, hey, get your head out your butt? He did blame the loss on the defense and took no credibility, so.
Yeah, you can't say that. I think they stick with him for another year because he's inconsistent. But when he is on, he's on. But when he's off, he is terribly off.
I need to put that
They
in quotes. When he's on, he's on. When he's off, he's off.
They just came off of a win against the Bills. Huge win. Then they lost against the Patriots. Had zero offense anywhere on the field.
What do you have, like, -2 yards in the second half? Total, -8 or something like that. 8 yards. 8 yards total in the second half. 8 yards total.
Let's see. Let me pull that one up because it was a weird stat.
Where are you doing that? To anyone who
Total
doesn't know,
yards.
you got it?
Total yards, 103 for the entire team.
Okay, well, what is about
Passing 44 yards. And then rushing 59 yards. First half, let's see. It's not going to show me first half here. Yeah, it's just showing me
right.
overall.
I think it was like 8 yards in the second half, give or take. Obviously, somebody can 2 yards. My dad said 2 yards.
Oh, it's 2.1 yards per play is what they average.
Yeah. So I do agree that you stick with Zach Wilson for 1 more year, but I think Zach Wilson as a starter is a horrible leader, and I think he's already lost. They got 2 yards total in the second half. So everything came in the first half which is horrible. You got 2 yards.
Yeah,
30 minutes of football, almost an hour of football.
He just comes off as childish.
He looks like a child, but
yeah, he looks like a child. But the way he acts and he just still seems like he's a freshman in college. It's that the whole thing with during the off season with his mom's friend or whatever. He hyped that up, which was disrespectful. And as a role model, you shouldn't be doing stuff like that and then hyping it up and going along with it. You should have been like, I made a mistake. He's very immature with the way that he acts on and off the field. And as a leader, you can't do that.
He comes for money. And so his entire life he's been handed everything. So
I
like,
wouldn't say he comes from money. He grew up in the terrible neighborhood of oh, where did he come from?
somewhere in Utah.
Yeah, the terrible neighborhoods of Utah.
What goes on in Utah? Like Bloods and Crips in there sitting there like, hey, what up, Zach? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, welcome to
Dude got beat
Utah.
up by deer.
Hmm?
That's what happens in Utah. You get beat up by deer.
Do you? Oh dear. And
That's about the
Mormons.
only. That's about the only thing I can think of that's out in Utah, outside of a serial killer right now.
Yeah. Is there a serial killer in Utah right now?
Yeah, some dude killed like 4 people. So there was 6 people in one house. 4 of them got killed, and then the other 2 were still sleeping. And then they didn't call the police for like 8 hours. So
That's not good. Not going to be going well for the Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses that go door to door. We're not here to kill you, I promise.
Joe Flacco.
Joe
That's your dad
Flacco.
on there, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they're starting Joe Flacco. I think
No,
they're starting Mike White.
Mike White, yeah.
Yeah.
For this
The
one
GOAT.
game. The GOAT. He's
Greatest of all time.
great. He's not
He
bad.
wasn't bad. He
Not
wasn't bad. His first
Um,
game. His other 2 games were.
To be honest, I think it's time to trade. Now I think about it, I think it's time to trade Zach Wilson after this season and get a new quarterback because I think he's already got beef with Elijah Moore. When asked if he was played in part a role in the issue of them losing to the Patriots, he said no. Even though the Jets defense played great, it's the only reason why they even had a chance in that game. And he said no. Did you let your defense down? Was the question. He said no. What?
See,
what?
So a quarterback is the leader of every single team. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
No matter what. Until you prove you're not the leader, you are the leader of that team. If you ask me a question, Taylor, did you let your defense down? Regardless of what the true answer is, yeah.
Yeah.
I absolutely did. We should have converted more. Our
Even
third
if you
down
put up
conversions were
400 passing
terrible.
yards and 5 passing touchdowns and
You bring up one mistake. You'd be like, yeah, I missed blah, blah, blah on the slant route, overthrew him, whatever. Take the blame somehow because your team's going to be like, that's my dog right there.
yeah.
He's taking the blame. He's not throwing us under the bus. Now, I'm going to be, why would I want to play for you?
Yeah. Asking Elijah Moore, someone said in a post-game interview, they asked him, how can you describe your chemistry with Zach Wilson? And he said, I can't. I don't get the ball. Just straight up said it.
He's like, what chemistry?
What chemistry?
There's nothing there.
There's nothing there. Like,
if there was something there, I could tell you what it was, but
I got thrown the ball one time all game.
I do remember that. He was like, I don't even get the ball, man.
Yeah, I don't even get the
Like
ball.
that.
So, no, I get the frustration. That's what I'm saying. I think he lost the locker room. I think there's probably still a couple players in there that probably still like him, but I think for Robert Saleh's job security, and especially because they're going to have a potential top 5 pick, like if they can land C.J. Stroud, you pull the trigger. If they can land Bryce Young, you pull the trigger. If you decide to go Will Levis over those 2, pull the trigger on your GM. So this is a Will Levis hate show. But no, but if you can get those top 2 quarterbacks, I think you do pull the trigger and try to, fresh start, get Zach Wilson somewhere, because the Jets have all the tools to win right now. They have a great wide receiver core. They have a great defense. They have a great running back. Obviously, he got injured, but
they have multiple running backs that are
multiple
good.
running backs. They got a decent offensive line. It just comes down to that quarterback, and the quarterback with it right now is just this team goes wherever the quarterback is going to go. And right now, to me, Zach Wilson's so wishy-washy, and he's already thrown his team under the bus. He's already lost them on a maturity level and leadership level. That I think, even if with this one game, benching, that I think it's just time to move on. If you can get those top 2 quarterbacks, and people have, I'll throw this out there for you. Someone said, Derek Carr or Jimmy G, if they're on the market and willing to come to the Jets, do you take them over Zach Wilson?
Yeah. Not for a long term. I wouldn't make them my franchise quarterback, but yeah, I would.
Yeah. As of for right now, like you put Jimmy G in that offense, you see what he's doing with San Fran. I think.
Yeah, I would say if I don't know, San Fran's absolutely stacked right now.
Yeah.
So they're way more stacked than the Jets are. I would take Derek Carr over Jimmy G.
I would too.
I mean, it's kind of the bottom of the barrel that you're handing me here, but if I had to
It's
pick one
better
or
than
two, I would
Zach
take
Wilson.
Sam Darnold.
Someone
Yes.
said this is Sam Darnold all over again. No, because Sam Darnold didn't actually have weapons, and he sucked, and then he went to the Carolina Panthers and sucked. So this is different in the sense that the Jets have legit weapons.
I mean, it does still seem kind of like it does
It's rushing.
resemble Sam Darnold all over again. It was this high hope quarterback, uh, high draft pick, going to turn the franchise around, comes in, underwhelming play. There's a bunch of stuff swirling around him. With Sam Darnold, there was like some mono stuff or whatever. That was like a controversy for whatever reason.
He's
Now you
seen
have Zach
ghosts.
Wilson and his, antics and not taking the blame. It does resemble Sam Darnold a
No,
little
but
bit.
this is why I'm going to counterpoint to your counterpoint, and everyone's saying this is kind of like they're rushing Zach Wilson out the building too soon.
Oh,
It's
they're
the
not rushing
leadership.
him out there at all.
Well, I know
That
it's to me. If you get rid of Zach Wilson now, the reason why it's different than Sam Darnold, because Sam Darnold owns up to when he sucks. He owns up to it. He goes, "Hey, I sucked." He even got caught on the sideline. I'm seeing ghosts. I don't know what I'm doing. Zach Wilson's like, "Mommy, my apple slices are too cut too big." And they're like, "Whose fault is that? You're the one who cut the apple slices with your knife as a grown man." He goes, "That guy's fault." And the guy's like, "I'm not even in the same house as you. How's it my fault?
Yeah.
You got the knife in your hand cutting the apples." Right? So I think that's the difference is that Sam Darnold, even when he sucked, Robbie Anderson, who was with the Jets at the time, said, "That's my guy." Right? You don't have anyone in the Jets locker room right now saying Zach Wilson's my guy. There is literally nobody standing up for Zach Wilson right now,
Yeah, and
and
if you
that's
can get
scary.
Robbie Anderson to say that's my guy, you must be doing something right because that
Yeah.
dude apparently hates
Every
everyone.
quarterback. So that's all I'm saying is I just don't the fact that no one's standing up for the slander of Zach Wilson and there's teammates right now on the defense side of the ball liking tweets. Like they're literally going like there's like Sauce Gardner liked a tweet, a couple other Jets defensive players liked a couple tweets that went against Zach Wilson, saying that he was a bad leader and stuff like that. So if you got your players openly, not openly saying it, but openly liking tweets and going out
Yeah.
there and retweeting stuff, and like there's no leadership from the Zach Wilson perspective where I'm like, that's my quarterback. So
Yeah, no, the locker room's lost. I mean,
which it sucks because they're having a good season. Like, they're
for
having
the
a good
Jets.
season
For the Jets. Yes,
So-
for the Jets are having actually a good season. I don't know. I could definitely see them if they have an opportunity to take a really good quarterback in the draft, pulling the trigger and taking one. But if there's like if Will Levis is there, pass on him.
Yeah.
Maybe wait till next draft and stick with Zach Wilson. See if maybe he can pull a Jalen Hurts out of the thin blue air. I don't know,
Yeah.
which is a hard thing to do because not many people can go from being like, man, this dude sucks to, all
Is he
right,
good?
MVP.
Yeah, Jalen
So-
Hurts went from 55 completion percentage from his second year to he's up to 65 now. So that's a 10% completion percentage jump for Jalen Hurts, which is amazing. So
Yeah.
you don't see this. That's kind of unheard of.
But I mean, the Jets are just doomed. They're like the Browns. It's
They can't develop quarterbacks to save their lives.
the Browns. It's the Browns, the Jets, Jaguars, and Lions. It's just forever doomed to be bottom of the barrel for eternity.
Yeah.
Except for that one season with the Jaguars.
And here's something I could see the Jets doing if they do end up getting rid of Zach Wilson and going with a Jimmy G or Derek Carr, signing them to like a 1 or 2 year deal. There's been talks they draft a project quarterback in like AR because of what AR can do, and then they try to. The problem is they want to do that and have Jimmy G or Derek Carr for a year, supposedly for talks, and then if they get AR-15 and try to develop him before they start him, that offense will be dynamic if AR can play to his potential. But the Jets can't develop, so
Yeah.
at the quarterback position at least. So I just
Maybe they go with. I know this person's going to be looking for a job after the season if they don't retire. Matt Ryan.
yeah.
You know?
Lamar Jackson's going to be out there. He could see a Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore and a Brees Hall kind of offense and go.
If the Jets got Lamar Jackson, they would be a threat.
They would absolutely. They've already got a great defense and they've got great wide receivers. So if the Jets
Yeah, they'd be
somehow got
scary.
Lamar, the Jets could be not Super Bowl locks, but playoff locked for the following season.
Absolutely.
So that's scary, and that's what I'm saying. If they could, especially if they could land Lamar Jackson, Zach Wilson's gone. They can land C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young, Zach Wilson's gone. But I think you just stick with Zach Wilson for right now to see what he has in year 3. Just because, unless you can get one of those better top tier esque players, but I think he still lost the locker room. Speaking of benching, Davis Mills got benched for Kyle Allen with the Houston Texans. Are they setting themselves up to draft a QB? And if so, which one are you taking if you're the Texans?
This one sucks because Davis Mills was actually doing pretty good at the beginning of the season. And I was a big Davis Mills fan. I think they do go after a quarterback. Which one? I don't know. CJ Stroud, like you said earlier, would be an awesome pick for them. What pick do they have?
I think it's top 5. That's all I know. I think it's like
Top 5.
Yeah.
So if they have a top 5 draft pick, I would absolutely shoot for like a CJ, even if Hendon Hooker's up there, if he's declaring, I don't know, with injury. Well, yeah, he has to.
He's been in college for like 10, 20 years.
10 years. That would be a tough one because of how old he is. Plus, he just got injured, so that's really going to affect his stock.
But that means they could get him in the second round and get a offensive line, defensive line, or wide receiver with that first pick.
Yeah. I would say so they have a couple of weapons with the Texans. I mean, they got a really good running back. They got a couple of good wide receivers. I know Meche, he's fighting, I think it was leukemia.
He's in recovery, but he can't play this season.
So he should be back next season, hopefully praying for his recovery and everything goes well. So they have some talent, running back, wide receiver. I could see them taking C.J. Stroud, maybe Bryce Young in the top 5. I think that would be a good fit. Because if they're done with Davis Mills, I mean, it makes absolute sense to go ahead and take a top QB in the draft.
Yeah, someone saying, or my dad saying, Davis Mills is good, build around. So you're saying that as a Colts fan because the Texans been bottom of the barrel even with him at quarterback. So I think he's decent. I don't know if he's good. I think he is a decent quarterback. He's going to be that kind of quarterback in the league that kind of jumps from team to team. And it's like, oh, we need a bridge quarterback who can take over for a year or two before we get our guy. I think he's already hit. The reason why I say this is I think Davis Mills, while he is good or decent, he's already hit his ceiling. I don't think he gets any better than he is now. Which, as a team, you can see their record and reflect on that, and there's a reason why he got benched.
He's insanely consistent.
He's consistent, but
he's an average, consistent quarterback.
Yeah, and he's
consistently average.
He's hit that ceiling, and you need that quarterback that's going to put you over the hump because obviously they're not winning games. So something's got to change. You mentioned Hendon Hooker. I do like that's a nice fit for him. For them, he could start day one. He's just going to have to because of his age. Coming from that injury, it might scare a team because he might have to sit out a couple halfway through the season.
Is he like 30?
He's 25 going on 26, so he's sitting there. But he's definitely at the start when he's healthy. But I could see them getting like a Addison from USC or Jackson from Ohio State and solidifying that wide receiver core, and then getting Hendon Hooker in the second. But I do think that if C.J. Stroud is sitting there, I think C.J. Stroud is that type of quarterback for this draft. It's like if you can get him, regardless of your QB situation.
Yeah, I don't see a team that passes him if he's on the board.
Yeah, I don't see it. I mean, if you're a top 5 team that already has a quarterback, but you're in the top 5 for a reason, you probably don't have a quarterback. So, and I don't think he slips past Carolina at 5 or 6 anyways. So, I think that Texans will get him or Bryce Young. If they draft Will Levis, they might as well just take stake with David Mills.
I agree.
My personal opinion.
With everything you said. Everything.
And speaking of a former Texans player, DeAndre Hopkins got called out by Charvarius Ward He said he doesn't like D Hop's game and that he's a steroid cheating user. Does that incident with D Hop when he was with the Cardinals, I think. But does that incident hurt D-Hop as far as his image as a elite receiver? Like is it Devontae Adams or D-Hop? Well, D-Hop took steroids, so I'm going to take Devontae Adams. And then does that incident it only happened one time? But does that incident hurt his potential Hall of Fame resume?
I don't think it does. I think it was I think what they said that he took, it wasn't like a
Enhancement.
What I'm trying. Yeah, it wasn't like something that he was taking to, like bulk up or be more agile or anything like that. I think it was for recovery from an injury that he had, and he said he didn't know that he was taking it. It was something that he was given from his doctors to, speed up recovery. Which a lot of players do take stuff that us normal, average Joes don't take, because they're elite athletes and they got to take certain stuff. But I don't think it should affect his legacy whatsoever, and I think calling him out like that was stupid because the dude has been insane his whole
ever since
career.
He came back. He came back after
even
suspension,
when he came back.
He still torched the 49ers defense. So
I don't think that anybody should be calling him a steroid user or saying he's a bum or whatever he said, or saying you don't respect his game, because before this season he gets drug tested like everybody else, and he's never popped for anything.
He's clean.
And he's been an insane player. So I don't think anybody should be making these comments. I think this is just another one of those, I'm not in the spotlight right now. Let me just jump on in and say something.
Yeah. Ward's not a bad corner. He's not a slack.
No, he's not bad, but it's not like, everybody's talking about him on SportsCenter every week. But, D-Hop makes a good play. Everybody was like, man, D-Hop is like one of the best wide receivers to play the game. He's so dynamic.
I think he's the best receiver still, even coming back in the season.
So, you see that, and then you're like, man, screw that guy, man. He took some steroids. He shouldn't get this fame. I'm going to say something. That's what that was. But
someone said the PED list has NyQuil on it. So, yeah.
There you go.
Hey, you see this incident with like Lane Johnson, who hasn't let up a sack this year. He got busted for quote unquote steroid use, but he said he just went to the doctor for some pain medicine, and he got it cleared by the NFL. But the NFL, when they drug tested him, it popped for steroids, and so they still suspended him for like 6 games. I can't remember what year that was, but so I think it's a tiptoeing, because you never know when. You're an athlete in the off season, you're trying to take medication to kind of recover from half a year's worth of physical, brutal hits in play, that you're just trying to get better, and then it's like, he's a steroid user.
It's just like Kelsey said, each game, especially for wide receivers, tight ends, running backs, they get in many car accidents every game.
Yeah.
And they were talking about like, when does the pain hit you? And he was like, as soon as I hit that tunnel, as soon as the game's done, I am hurt. So, these players are going to go try and find something that helps them, because they can't smoke marijuana, which is something that people say is good for medical stuff. They can't take certain pills. They can't do this and that. So you try and find something that's not on the list, or you take somebody's advice thinking they know what's on the list. Plus the NFL will suspend you for anything.
Yeah, they get that money.
Yeah, I think they will fine you and suspend you for anything. I think it was Matt Gay, the Rams kicker.
Yeah,
his shorts were that far above his knee, and they fined him like $50,000 for it.
Yeah, it's
ridiculous.
The NFL it's kind of stupid with their punishment. Yeah, no, I agree. I think that D-Hop, he's playing at an elite level. I think that something that might have played a part in that was, the 49ers versus Cardinals kind of rivalry. I think D-Hop is a borderline Hall of Famer, and I just don't think that this should hurt his chances of getting in, because the NFL doesn't have a steroid problem, like an enhancement problem, like the baseball does. I think a lot of these athletes, they get popped, again, like you said, are just prescription drugs that they thought was okay, that just weren't, and none of it's like enhancing them. He's still a great player, and we're gonna go on to who was throwing the ball to him, because Colt McCoy played pretty good before he got hurt, before they had to go to Trace McSorley.
Trace McSorley.
He's the GOAT. Trace McSorley. All right. Do you think the Cardinals need to move on from Kyler as far as leadership standpoint? Because Colt McCoy looked like he ran that offense for the time that he was in better than Kyler. There's a bunch of former pros who said the same thing. The offense looked more fluid. He made the right reads. Kyler has been missing a lot of reads ever since Call of Duty came out. So do you think that after the season, I know Kyler is better than Colt McCoy, but do you think it's time just for a restart there? We talked about Zach Wilson getting a restart. Do you think is it time for Kyler Murray to get a restart out of Arizona?
I think the issue boils down to who's coaching. I think it's Kingsbury or whatever his name is. Yeah, that's his name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's his fault. I don't think he is that type of coach that's stern enough to really reel in his players that are like Kyler Murray. I mean, he was seen on the sideline yelling at his head coach. He was seen on the sideline arguing with D-Hop, yelling at his offensive line, you name it. He's out there just doing what he wants to do, how he wants to do it. I think they need a head coach that comes in there and he's able to reel in these types of players and the attitude that Kyler has. And I think that'll change a lot of things because Kyler's really talented. He's really quick on his feet.
Yeah.
He's not a terrible passer. He can read a defense well. So I don't think that it's time for the Cardinals to move on from him. I think it's more of a head coaching issue. And you need to find a head coach that's actually going to be able to go out there and, lay down some rules and have them follow them. Because Kingsbury was like, oh, you call some plays during the preseason. Like, that's like a...
Hey, they scored when Kyler Murray called him.
Yeah, but that was like Kingsbury giving him a punishment on the sideline type of thing because Kyler said he could make play calls or whatever. You just don't do that. It just made no sense for him to do that. I think he needs to go. They've had so many weapons on the Cardinals since he's been head coach, and they've yet to do anything with it.
Did you
They've
see
had
what Buda
zero
Baker
playoff
said
runs
during the game? He said at the end of the game, they asked him basically what happened, and he said he saw in the atmosphere, in his teammates' eyes on the sideline and on the field, they just gave up. He said he was very mad about it. Buda Baker is obviously one of the better safety/linebackers in the league.
And very passionate.
Very, very passionate. And he was like, my teammates gave up. They just gave up. They quit. He said they quit mid-game. It makes no sense. And I think if you're a head coach and your players are just not wanting to play, especially in the second half, I think it's time to go. To extend on your point of Kingsbury struggling to hold that locker room, I think he's a college coach that is trying to coach these grown men like they're in college. No. We've seen it with Chip Kelly, where there's a power dynamic. You got a head coach trying to, manhandle these grown men and tell them what to do and tell them what to eat, and that's part of your job as a head coach. But they also speak to them as if they're children. And you and I both know that when another grown man talks to us like we're wee little babies and we don't know the game of football or we don't know what we're doing in every aspect, it's going to rub off the wrong way. It's easier when you're talking to freshmen, juniors, and sophomores, because they are still technically learning the game. But when you got D-Hop and you're sitting there going, D-Hop, this is how you need to play the game. You this and that, and you're do this. I think you lose the locker room that way with that power dynamic. So I think Kingsbury is a great college coach. I think he was a decent NFL head coach. But to your point, I think that it's time to move on from the head coach. Maybe not from Kyler Murray, but from the head coach.
Yeah, because like I said, Kyler's a good quarterback. I think they would get a lot of riff if they were like, yeah, we're going to trade Kyler or bench him and start Colt McCoy next season. People would be like, what? What?
Texas fans would be like, are you wrong?
Yeah, finally a Texas quarterback. Let's go. I don't see them moving on from it. It all boils down to the head coaching situation. It's not working out. I mean, he's not a bad coach. He's definitely not a bad coach. Like you said, he did really good in college. So I could see him going back to college or taking a different head coaching position in the NFL because he's not terrible.
Yeah,
So
fresh
somebody
start.
could pick him up. I think that's the issue. So I would definitely say keep Kyler when he's healthy, start him, and then Cole McCoy. I think he's a fantastic backup quarterback.
You said Colt McCoy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's always been a good backup. I mean, obviously we know his legendary career at Texas uh, solidified him as one of the best college quarterbacks of all time. But to be honest, I forgot he was still in the league. So anytime like I turn on a game, like when he played for the Commanders, formerly known as the Redskins, and went to the Browns and kind of went to the Cardinals, like I'm like, Cole McCoy. Wait, he's still in the league?
So they happened like this last year. Cole McCoy came in last year when Kyler was hurt
Yeah.
and did the same thing. Played really well. They won game. I think they won every game he played last year. So he's
a smart.
maybe some team wants
He's
to pick him
smart.
up. Maybe it's like a Tyler Heineke type of thing where or a Geno Smith where they've been backups for so long.
I
Where
don't think Colt's
now they
gonna,
can just
year
pop
12,
off.
Colt McCoy's gonna start anywhere. He's 12 years in the league. I don't.
The Jets. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, but
The Rams.
I think. Shut your mouth. I think as a backup quarterback, that's who you want, is somebody who can come in and make the game flow smoothly and get the wins.
Yeah. And like he's kind of like a Nick Foles, where like you have a Colt McCoy, Nick Foles kind of player as your
Except for
backup.
Nick Foles has a ring.
Yeah, so Nick Foles has a ring. Maybe a Gardner Minshew, who honestly should probably be starting somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah.
I mean, he played better than Trevor Lawrence, and Trevor Lawrence won the job just because he got drafted higher on the list. But who knows? Gardner Minshew could go to the Jets and be a bridge quarterback for them if they're waiting for a Caleb Williams type player to come out of USC. Maybe they dip their toe into the USC. They missed on Sam Darnold. Maybe they go with Caleb Williams in 2020.
I mean, the Colts need somebody.
Yeah, Oh, the Colts are waiting for Arch Manning, man. You know that. They got to.
That ain't happening.
Or the Broncos trying to get Manning. Someone's getting Manning. But
The Giants.
the good news is if Arch Manning goes to the Colts fans don't have to buy a new Manning jersey. It's like, hey, Uncle, can I use your number 18 number? Sure.
He wouldn't say no either.
Yeah, he wouldn't say he don't care. So it's like.
Oh man! Speaking of like retiring jersey numbers, who was that? Oh man, I cannot remember the player's name.
What
They were-
team?
Cowboys. Man, they were talking about numbers getting retired, and he said that retiring numbers is the dumbest thing I've ever seen, and he made a really good point. So if you take this number, so this player's number gets retired,
Yeah.
gets thrown up in the rafters, you never hear of that number again.
No.
Until they like pass away or something.
Well, no, but okay. Counterpoint. If I say 21, who do you think of in the NFL history?
Me.
Okay,
Me.
You?
Yes.
What do you think of you in the NFL history when I say the number 21?
21. Yes.
Okay, 21 Savage.
21. Do something for me. So, but look, just
You think of Deion Sanders? Come on now.
so there's you have one number that you can pull up, but listen, if you don't retire the number, right?
Mm-hmm.
This I cannot remember his name for whatever reason. He's a Cowboys Hall of Famer.
Michael Irvin.
Yes, thank you. So Michael Irvin. I'm pretty sure C.D. Lamb wears his number.
They always give
Every
Jerry
single
Jones hand 88 to whoever they think to generate next great Cowboys wide receiver.
So every single time C.D. Lamb makes an insane play, what they say is, man, that sure does look like Michael Irvin out there.
Yeah.
Every time something happens, they point out the number that he's wearing, and they're like, man, he sure does look like Michael Irvin out there. So every single Sunday, whenever they make a good play, as he said it, they give him his flowers every single Sunday.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's what I want. I want my number to go to somebody who has promise, somebody who's out there playing every single Sunday with heart, grit, and passion. He's like, every single week, my number's out there. Everybody gets to see it, and it's the best player on the team, on the wide receivers at least.
But it wasn't Irvin's original number. He got that. 88's been a Cowboys tradition since like the 1950s, 60s.
Well, no, yeah, but he was just saying the point, like, whenever your number goes up in the rafters, on a Sunday, you're not going to hear your number every single Sunday.
Yeah, okay. Well,
You know,
to counterpoint, like the reason why they would retire numbers is because when you think of that number, you think of that player for that team.
yes,
Like if I say 20 for the Eagles, who do you think of?
nobody.
There's been Brian Dawkins. Okay,
Yes,
that's nobody. So every number 20 before that did not live up. The Brian Dawkins is one of the greatest safeties of all time. When I say number 18, who do you think of? In the NFL, it's number 18.
Manning.
Manning. Exactly. You don't go, you know, Randy Moss on the Raiders, number 18.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not every single player who wears that jersey is going to like pop off or anything.
No, no.
But your numbers out there, and they still in your mind. Like, let's say number 20 on the Eagles. If somebody else is wearing number 20 out there, and they bring up, oh, number 20, blah blah blah, man, he sure looked like Dawkins out there, whatever. You know, their number and the name coincide and say stuff.
That's a lot to live up to. Imagine being safety and going, hey, here's a number 20 jersey. Like, that's like an Eagles quarterback, and it's like, hey, here's a number 5 jersey. Who do you think? There's been a bunch of great quarterbacks for the Eagles. Who do you think? Donovan McNabb, number 5. When I say number 12, the jersey number 12, Brady. All right, you have great quarterbacks who wear number 12, like Aaron Rodgers and stuff like that. But when I say 12, it's Brady. When I say
that's a good point that just got pulled up in the chat. What happens when all the numbers get retired?
We go to decimals.
I think I don't know. I like the point that Michael Irvin brought up of, you know, he gets his flowers every single Sunday when CD Lamb goes out there and he makes some wild play, like, and then they're like, man, you know, looks like Michael Irvin. I get that, but I also understand the point that you're trying to make is, you know, once your number gets retired, like, boom, you made such an impact in the game of football and on that franchise that they were like, that's it. Nobody else gets that number. Throw it up in the rafters.
And again, counterpoint: if you're on the Colts and you get handed the number 18 jersey, they're gonna, for even if this is 20 years down the road and Peyton hasn't played in 20 plus years, they're gonna go, oh, is he Manning? Is he Manning? Is he? He's not gonna be like, oh, the Colts had Zach Wilson in year 10 of his career. You know, could he be better than Zach Wilson? They're like, oh, he's wearing number 18. Could he be the next Manning?
Well, see, they don't do that with number 88 on the Cowboys, though. They're not like, is he going to be the next?
They do, because 88 went from Irving, and then they try to give it to other receivers who didn't pan out, and that's another thing. All that pressure, you put 88 on, and then it went to Dez Bryant, who did pan out for a couple years, and then it went to CD. But now imagine CD leaves and they give it to the next wide receiver and he doesn't live up. Now it's like, hey, if
you can't live up, you shouldn't be in the league. That's a good thing to be like, look, this is
like
our guy who's supposed to perform.
At LSU, they give out the number 7 to the best player offense and defensively. At Florida, we give out the number 1 jersey to who we think is a generational talent or someone who's the best player in offense and defense. So it's just there's the history behind the number. So if you're going to continue the number, if you're not going to retire it, you're going to have to be pretty good at predicting the person's future in a sense, because if not, that number weighs, whether people want to realize it or not, it weighs so much. Again, if you're the Colts or you're the Patriots and your next quarterback comes in and you're like, we're going to give him number 12 because we think he's generational, and then he doesn't pan out.
I mean, if giving somebody a certain number on their jersey weighs so heavily on them that they can't perform, get the hell off of my team. if that weighs so much on you, then go find another team. See you later. Because that's ridiculous. You are in the National Football League. Somebody handing you a jersey, you'd be like, hell yeah, let's go rock it and go out there and perform.
But jersey numbers to players is important because, think about, to most, if Carson tried to get his number 11 jersey from Michael Pittman because he wanted to be number 11, so he's like, hey, I'm going to offer you money for this jersey. And you see it all the time. Like, hey, I want that jersey. That's me. And oftentimes, especially with their brand off the field, if it's like, say, Lamar Jackson 8 and his logo has the number 8, he'd have to go get a whole new trademark logo and everything like that. So he's going to do whatever he can to get that number. Tom Brady, he came to Tampa and he paid to get the number 12 because Tom Brady's 12. It's TB12.
All right, so let's say a team retires number, let's just say 11. They retire the number 11. And then this other really good player gets traded to that team that retired 11, but 11 meant so much to him because it was her mother's birthday. She passed away. She fought breast cancer. She did all this
SOL,
great
man.
stuff.
SO,
See,
SOL.
it goes both ways. The point I was making, because now we're going too deep into this, is that sometimes not retiring the number could favor the player that wore that number. Like Michael Irvin, he enjoys it because each and every single week his name gets called, and they're like, "Oh, he resembles Hyman Hoff." But for those that want it retired, cool. I think it's cool not to retire the number. I think, I don't know. I just think it's cool that, a player can come in and be like, man, I idolized this guy growing up, and now I'm wearing his jersey number.
Yeah.
This is amazing. That it's that aspect of passing down.
I get that point. And I get the point of what happens when you run out of members. But I don't think you retire every single, like, that person has to be spectacular, like Manning level, Brady level as far as your retirement. Because if I say, for basketball, if I say the number 23, who do you think of? Most people think of
LeBron James.
Either LeBron or Michael Jordan. You don't think of...
It's Michael Jordan. Nobody thinks of LeBron with 23.
Yeah, but, like, that's what I'm saying. So, like, Kobe, people think that you say 24 or 8, depending on what year of Kobe you're thinking of. You say Kobe.
No, I mean, I get both sides, but I just think it's cool that, Michael Irvin is, Hall of Famer, and he's like, I want my number on the field. I want players to wear that number. I'm going to get my recognition for everything I gave to the game of football and that franchise every single Sunday when that player makes a catch. Even if he goes, like, 1 for 6, that one catch, they're going to be like, whoa, wow, that was really nice. Look at Michael Irvin. And then the other 6, and they're going to be like, should have got it.
No, like I said,
that's my point.
I can see the counter argument. All right, you ready to go in these game picks?
Let's get ready to rumble.
Before we get into these game picks, Taylor, can you bring up what we have? We didn't pick the games this last week, guys. We apologize. We might be doing Tuesdays at 7, Wednesdays. We don't know. We're still on the talks. We'll let you guys know. When do you want to do it, Taylor? Let's get the out here. You want to do it on Tuesdays?
We'll do it on Tuesdays. That way the idea behind switching it up is, so after Monday, that's the last game of the NFL schedule, and that's 2 days after the college football games have been played. So that way we're not waiting an entire week to talk about the games.
And the AP poll comes out on Tuesday. So.
Yep. So we're right there. Once all the games have finished, then we'll be able to talk about fresh stuff rather than waiting a whole week, and then you guys are like, didn't ESPN already cover that?
Yeah.
So,
all right, so Tuesdays at 7. While he pulls this up, guys, I do want to remind you, all those listening at home, make sure you hit the follow button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and make sure you hit the little bell right there for you to make sure you know when we go live. And if you're listening from Spotify, make sure you hit that follow button and share it to your peers. Let them know about us. Other than that, we do thank you guys for all who are listening and show up every week. If you're listening from Spotify, again, this is a pre-recorded show, not pre-recorded, but it's live, and then usually about an hour later it does go on Spotify. So you're always an hour behind. So if you don't want to listen on Spotify, come over to YouTube when we're live and chat it up in the comments. All right, you got what we have right now for our bet.
Yep. So far, I'm leading with 11, and you are right behind me with 8.
Oh. All right. So I got to play catch up because we're starting to dwindle out in the season here. I'm running out of makeup time.
You're playing ketchup and I'm playing mustard.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna start with tomorrow's games. Happy Thanksgiving, guys. Heads up. The Bills versus the Lions.
I'm going Lions.
Ooh, I'm taking Bills. I was like, man, please tell me that picks the Lions. I'm going Bills. I need to catch up, so I'm glad you took the Lions. All right, make it 9-11. I'm just kidding. The Cowboys versus the Giants, both 7-3.
Cowboys.
Going Cowboys as well. I think the Giants are starting to fizzle out, so I'm going to go Cowboys. Unfortunately. Why are these teams? The last Thanksgiving game, Patriots versus the Vikings.
Vikings.
Vikings as well for me. I'm not trying to give you too much of a lead here. We got the Broncos versus the Panthers.
Panthers.
You don't want to ride, man? Broncos country, let's ride.
He ain't riding nowhere with that.
Sam Darnold. I'm gonna go with the Broncos here. I'll take the split. I'm gonna trust Russell Wilson to help me catch up. All right, we have the Buccaneers versus the Browns.
Buccaneers versus the Browns. Is this the day that Deshaun Watson makes his comeback?
No, next week. Deshaun Watson can practice. He can practice this week.
Buccaneers.
All right, I'm gonna go. Man, Tom Brady has not looked good.
The last 2 games he has.
No, not since he's divorced. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Buccaneers. Just take that.
Shocker! Brandon follows the leader.
Yeah. Okay, Ravens versus Jags.
Ravens.
Wait, I don't follow the leader. That's why I'm losing.
Maybe you should.
All right, maybe I'm going Ravens as well. Look at that. We have the Texans versus the Dolphins.
Dolphins.
Dolphins, yeah. We have the Bears versus the Jets. I'm taking the Bears.
I think that's how we should do it. Every other game, you give the first answer, and then the next one I give it. That way, it's not like, oh, I gotta follow him.
Well, I already premeditated who I'm picking. Like some of these are give me games, but I'm taking the Bears here because I think Justin Fields has been playing pretty good.
I got the Jets because I'm pretty sure Justin Fields is hurt.
He is, but it is
shoulder with a torn ligament or something.
No, he can still run, so that's all. All right. We got the Bengals versus the Titans. So this is going to be a toss-up right here.
Bengals.
They're taking the Bengals. I'm taking the
I think
Titans.
Jamar Chase was slated to practice, so he might play.
I'm taking the Titans.
Okay.
All right. Then we have the Falcons versus the Commanders.
Falcons.
Taking the Commanders.
Oh, dang it. I forgot Wentz isn't playing anymore. Dang it.
Yeah. And Kyle Pitts is out for the season.
I forgot.
Yeah. All right. Then we got the Cardinals versus the Chargers.
Cardinals.
I'm going to take the Chargers here.
Chargers. Dang it.
You shouldn't be joking around like that if you're. All right. The Seahawks versus the Raiders. I'm going to take the Seahawks.
Seahawks.
All right. We'll tie there. We can tie. We don't have to disagree on every single one. I'm going to go Seahawks. Wait. Give me the Raiders.
Oh, come on.
Give me the Raiders. Give me the Raiders. All right.
You got it, buddy.
The Rams versus the Chiefs.
Chiefs.
All right, I'm gonna go Chiefs as well. That's gonna be painful,
Stafford's
man.
out.
Yeah, Stafford. You guys are on your third string quarterback, so that's gonna.
Yeah. Woohoo!
If only you had a first round pick, replace that quarterback. All right, we have the Saints versus the 49ers.
49ers.
I'm going to 49ers as well. Do you see James Winston's comments saying he never seen an injury make you lose a starting job?
Yes, I did see that, and I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah. It's not like he was
happens literally all the time, first off.
I'm going to go 49ers as well. And then we have the Eagles versus Green Bay.
Packers.
Okay, I'm going Philly. We take Packers. And then we have the Steelers versus the Colts.
Colts, you know my deal.
I'm gonna go Colts as well. I think the Steelers are just bad. So.
All right, we are locked in.
All right. That is our game picks, guys. Again, Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time is when we will be going live and uploading videos to Spotify and all that. And if you're trying to go see our past episodes, you're gonna have to scroll over to the live section on YouTube. We've had a couple people go, hey, we don't see your content. It's because not under videos, it's under live, because we're doing all this live. We don't edit or anything like that. It's all raw footage. So again, just scroll over to live and you'll see our past broadcasts there if you'd like to rewatch them. I am Brandon and this is Taylor. And thank you guys for watching. See you guys next Tuesday and have a great happy Thanksgiving. Make sure you eat it with your family. And see ya. All right, guys.
21.